Your Excellency, the issue of development, as we were talking about education and even the pension thing, aren't you worried about dwindling funds?
No, I'm worried because we don't even have enough money. But at the same time, I'm worried about the problems. The plethora of problems I met on ground. I don't sleep.
So if you don't have enough money,
yes,
how are you going to handle it? You're handling multiple projects.
No. That's why we are creating
this.
That's why we are creating the environment for private sector to thrive. There was no private sector in my state. We had only a civil service state when I came in.
Do we have now?
No. Today we are beginning to have private sector.
Industries.
Yes, about 14 industries are being built here, and then in the next 1 or 2 months. The next 1 or 2 weeks, the president should be able to commission a brand new gas processing plant, a very large one, done by the private sector, over $500 million expended. It's located in Esireke. And then we've done 69 kilometers of gas pipeline to Ibom Power. It is there that we are now supplying Ibom Power with gas. So Ibom Power is now producing up to 100 megawatts and sending it into the national grid. And then we have people who have come in, I don't want to name them, until groundbreaking ceremonies are done, who have brought in $1.8 billion to do ammonia plants and fertilizer plants within Akwa Ibom. And so many others. We have a Turkish company today that has already come in. Their factory is almost completed. They are producing fridges, household utensils, television sets, and all that. And they will be selling not just to Nigeria, but to the whole of West Africa. I don't make noise about those things. I promise my people that after the infrastructure, the next stage I will go into is industrialization in order to create jobs for the teeming youths of Akwa Ibom.
Because they were complaining. They said, look,
yes,
there's so much projects, almost calling you Mr. Project, and they wonder, are we going to have economy boom in the state?
Yeah, but that's what is happening now. Those projects are the economic drivers. They are attracting the private sector. If you don't have an airport, how do you expect the investor to fly in? Is it to go and land in Owerri and start asking, how do I get to Akwa Ibom? No investor will do that. You're wasting your time. Or somebody that lands in Port Harcourt, why can't he invest in Port Harcourt? He has to find a way 2 hours or 2.5 hours to get to Akwa Ibom. There must be something that attaches him here. Unless the wife is from here, he will not come. And so we had to create the access. That was why we ensured that we completed the international airport. Now we are talking about building a deep sea port in Ibaka. And what is that going to be for only Akwa Ibom people? No. It will be for all Nigerians. You expect over 20,000 people will have jobs. And so because of that, the deep sea port that is coming, even associated industries have already started coming. People have already taken, people are building tank farms here and building all sorts of things. New things are coming up around the state.
Let me share this with you, Governor Fabio. It's quite long, but I'll just quickly pick out some. It's from Omoba Adeyemi. He says, well, I live here and constantly move around the state thanks to the nature of my job, that the governor has actually, redefined governance in the part of the country. But he went further. I want to draw your attention to the economy of the state, which still remains very tertiary. The following areas should be looked into: development of coastal areas like Oron Beach,
yes,
Ibaka Port and Beach Connecting Road, rehabilitate Oron Ekme Okim Road, and finally invite investors from outside with government participation. He says this is his little contribution.
He has a strong point there. What we did was we now acquired about over 9,000 hectares of land along the coastline from Oron all the way down to Ibuna. And then we parcellated it, and then we wrote to the president, and he granted export free trade zone license over it. So that people who are coming, they are likely to have tax holidays for 5 years and all that. So many companies are showing interest from United Arab Emirates and some even from Poland. I had the deputy president of Poland who came here and also showed interest. So I believe strongly that we needed to even create the access. We needed to create the infrastructure before we can start looking for people to come.
I hope they will employ the locals here.
Oh my God, even most of the major companies here, like if you go to the international stadium we are building, which we are hoping that Arsenal and Man U or Chelsea can come and then shine for Nigerians here, because this stadium meets their international standard. 98% of the workers there are from Akwa Ibom State. They have acquired skills in welding, deep sea welding, and all sort of things, and I know at the end it will be useful to them in other ventures. So we are also building maintenance, repair, and overhaul facility at the airport. The MRO, there's none in the whole of West Africa as large as that. It's going to be for repair of planes, so you can do C checks, A checks, and other checks on aircrafts. And even the money we are losing in Nigeria today, in terms of health, the capital flight to India, particularly, that's what we are trying to capture. We want to have a niche in it. That's why we are building the biggest hospital in Nigeria. I believe that is the biggest hospital in Nigeria.
And former governors can be treated there
Can
instead
be
of
treated
going
there
abroad.
free instead of taking advantage of the 100 million ceiling that is provided, because it's not money that will be released to them. It is not money for Jamboree. It is money that is kept in case of incapacities. So they can be treated there free. And so we are having about 157 experts coming in to start that hospital this year. And of course, even the second 5-star hotel, Le Méridien, that we are furnishing right now, is also going to generate income for the state, and it's going to create employment opportunities. We have finished a big shopping mall with 6 studios of cinema operational. We have up to 3,000 visitors every week, particularly on weekends, coming from across Nigeria to come and enjoy themselves there at the Tropicana. And right now, the shopping malls are almost going into operation. We will generate revenue from there, even from taxation, and of course, even from fees that they are going to pay.
No,
and then we employ our children.
Talking about taxation, we were discussing something earlier about local government sticker enforcers, sticker boys.
Yeah.
Do you have them in Akwa Ibom?
No, I don't encourage that. I had to ban that because it amounts to, it becomes a nuisance on the road, and they've caused a lot of accidents in many states of the Federation.
How did you do it?
I insisted. I'm the governor. That's why I insisted.
But we thought, some say you're not the security, I don't know.
Chief Security Officer, they tell us.
I'm the chief security officer of the state. And so I had to invite all the local governments, and I said, I don't want to see it, because it impedes commerce.
So how do they generate their revenue? Because they say that's their own way of generating revenue.
They have markets, they have motor parks, and then, of course, they also have kiosks, and they have a right to also, they have tenement rates and all that, so they can generate revenue. Once you have a local government chairman that knows his job, he can generate revenue. He can generate revenue from tenement rates. He can also do so from market stores and market shops. He can do so also from partnering with NURCW at the motor parks, and also generating revenue per passenger and all that. Not to go and stand on the road and start disturbing free movement of vehicles, and then bringing up stickers and pursuing people into the bush and causing accidents, and even stopping, even causing high cost of foodstuffs.
Because
sometimes
they're complaining across the country.
I used to suffer it when I drive from Lagos, particularly when you enter into Edo State. You have almost every corner has a roadblock, and at the end, even as a private citizen, there were periods I used to stand on the road for 3 hours, and I said, I'm not going to pay this one. I had paid already somewhere in Ijebu. Why am I paying it again? I used to suffer it, so I cannot allow that in my state. So there's total free movement here. And then people would have stopped bringing yams and onions and other things into the state, and those things are not happening in Akwa Ibom. I don't want to have it, because I'm not interested.
We decided to ask you that question because we have started a feature on Channel Television looking at so many states that these are operational, and yesterday we drove even as far as Calabar, down and back, trying specifically looking for these sticker boys, which we didn't find.
No, you won't find. You won't find.
And
I'm sorry, you won't find.
In other parts that we have mentioned, it has become a culture and a
tradition. It is a nuisance,
so
and I want to appeal.
If they say they can't fix it, so we are surprised that you say
it can be done.
It can be done.
It has been done.
You see, the problem is having the will to do it, and also note that the local governments are semi-autonomous. The local governments are supposed to be guided by laws from houses of assembly.
Supposed to?
Yes. So is that
so in your state?
It is so in my state. The House of Assembly makes law for proper administration of local government. And so if it is not covered by the law, you cannot go disturbing people on the road and printing all sort of receipts. That's not why you are elected.